Imagine this. You wake up one morning and everything you own is gone. Your business collapsed overnight. Your savings disappeared. The home you worked your whole life to build. Everything gone. And this disaster didn't last 4 weeks or months. This goes on for years and years. That's the story you are about to listen to. The story of Prophet Ayyub, peace be upon him. And after I tell you what happened to him, I'm going to show you something incredible. How his brain stayed intact when everything around him was falling apart. Because this isn't just about faith. We will also be talking about the psychology of surviving when there's no end in sight. And if you're going through any hardship right now that feels like it will never end, may Allah grant you the strength to push through and become victorious. Stay until the end of this video to learn more about Islamic psychology through the story of Ayyub. Let's begin. Before everything fell apart, Ayyub had the kind of life most people dream about. He lived in the region of Haran, near what we now call Syria. He wasn't just wealthy, he was incredibly wealthy. He had vast lands, thousands of animals, crops that stretched as far as you could see. His home was so large that dozens of workers lived there, and he treated every single one of them with dignity. Ayyub did not allow the power he had to corrupt him. Wealth didn't make him arrogant, it made him more generous. He had 14 sons and a wife named Rahima. She was patient and devoted. She came from the lineage of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. She was not just beautiful, she was the kind of person who would stand by you when everyone else walked away. Every year during harvest season, Ayyub would give away most of his crops to the poor, orphans, widows, and anyone struggling. People didn't just respect him, they loved him. But here is what made Ayyub different. Despite all this wealth and all the comfort, he never forgot Allah. He would wake up before dawn to pray. He would thank Allah constantly, not just when things were good but always. This is very important. What's coming next would have destroyed most people, but Ayyub had built something inside himself during the good times that would keep him alive during the worst times. He didn't know it yet, but he was about to lose everything he had. Shaitan hated Ayyub. He tried everything to mislead him, whispered greed into his heart, tried to create conflict between his sons, attempted to make his wife doubt him, but nothing worked. So Shaitan went to Allah and complained. He said, "Of course Ayyub worships you. Look at everything you've given him. Take it away and watch him turn on you." Allah said, "Test him however you want. He will never turn away from me." And the test began. One day, a worker came running to him, out of breath, and said, "All your camels are dead, every single one." Ayyub calmly replied, "They were a blessing from Allah. He has taken back what was his. I accept his decision." The next day, another messenger arrived. "All your cows, goats, horses are dead." Again, Ayyub stayed calm and said, "I seek refuge in my Lord." Then the crops were destroyed by swarms of insects. The lush green fields turned barren overnight. One by one, everything he owned disappeared. He couldn't pay the workers he had anymore. He gathered them all and said, "I can no longer afford your wages. You should find other work." These workers stood there with tears in their eyes. One of them said, "When we needed you, you were always there. Surely, this is a test from Allah. He will remove this hardship soon." But it didn't come soon. The relatives who used to visit regularly stopped coming. Friends distanced themselves. One by one, people disappeared from his life. Only 3 people stayed, 2 loyal friends, and Rahima. Ayyub had lost everything material, but he had his children. He had his health. He still had a chance to rebuild. That's when the second disaster came. Shaitan wasn't done. He saw that despite losing everything, Ayyub was still thanking Allah. This made him furious. So, he came up with a plan. Disguised as a relative, he approached Rahima and said, "I want to help during this difficult time. Let me invite your sons to my home for a meal. Let me serve them something good." Rahima, kind and unsuspecting, agreed. All 12 sons went to this relative's house. They sat down. They started eating. They were happy. For the first time in months, they were enjoying themselves. And then the house collapsed. Under Shaitan's command, a powerful jinn created a violent storm. The roof caved in. The walls crumbled. All 12 sons were buried alive. A relative came running to Ayyub with the news. "Your sons, all of them, they're gone." 12 voices that used to fill his home with laughter. 12 futures he had dreamed about. 12 reasons to wake up every morning. Gone in an instant. How do you process that? How do you stay sane after that? Ayyub said, "We belong to Allah, and to him we return. My children were a trust from Allah. He has taken back his trust. I accept his decision. Shaitan expected him to scream, to curse, to break down. Instead, Ayyub was thanking Allah even more. But Ayyub's test wasn't over, not even close. Shaitan was desperate. Wealth didn't break in. His children death didn't break in. So Shaitan decided to attack his body. A disease appeared. Painful sores all over Ayyub's body. He developed a high fever that never went away. Constant coughing. Pain so intense, he couldn't sleep. His once strong healthy body became so thin you could see every bone. His face turned pale and lifeless. Only Rahima stayed. She took care of him. This went on for years. Rahima had to work to feed them. She took jobs cleaning houses. But she had to hide who she was. Because if people knew she was Ayyub's wife, they wouldn't hire her. She went to house after house looking for work. Things got so bad that Rahima had nothing left to sew. Nothing except her hair. In those days, long beautiful hair was valuable. So she cut it off and sold it. With that money, she bought Ayyub's favorite foods. She brought it to him with a smile. He looked at the expensive food and asked, "Where did you get this?" "We don't have money for this." She stayed quiet. He promised not to eat the food unless she tells him the truth. She removed her head covering. Her hair was gone. Ayyub broke down. In all those years of suffering, that moment hurt him more than anything. After everything they had lost, they still had each other. But even that wasn't the end of the test. 18 years this went on. Ayyub and Rahima survived 18 years of hardship. Not just survived but also grew stronger. Shaitan tried one more time. He appeared to Rahima disguised as a doctor and said, "I know how to heal your husband. Make him drink pig's blood." Rahima was shocked and said, "That's forbidden." Shaitan said, "In extreme cases, forbidden things become allowed for treatment." When she told Ayyub, he immediately said, "That's Shaitan. Don't listen to him." Another time, Shaitan disguised as a wise old man said, "If you commit adultery just once, your husband will be healed." Rahima replied, "I would rather die than betray my husband." Every trick Shaitan tried failed. He could not break them. Then came the moment when Ayyub made his dua. After 18 years of patience, he finally asked Allah for help. The Quran records his words, "Truly I am in great distress, and you are the most merciful of those who show mercy." That's all he said. He didn't complain about his situation. Neither did he ask why. And Allah responded immediately. Allah told him, "Strike your foot on the ground." Ayyub did, and a spring of crystal clear water burst from the earth. Allah told him to use it for bathing and drinking. Ayyub washed himself with that water. As the water touched his skin, the sores healed, the wounds closed, his body became strong again, his face regained its color. He was completely restored, better than he was before. When Rahima came home that evening, she saw a young, healthy, strong man in her house. She stepped back in fear. "Who are you?" He smiled. "It's me, Ayyub." She didn't believe it until he spoke again, and she recognized his voice. She ran to him and embraced him. They fell into prostration together, thanking Allah. The test was over, and that was the beginning of their blessings. Now let's talk about the psychological aspect of what happened to Ayyub during all of this. When you face a sudden crisis, your brain releases stress hormones. Your body goes into survival mode. You can handle that for a short time. But when the crisis never ends, when the suffering goes on for months and years, that's when most people break. There's something psychologists call learned helplessness. It's when you try everything to fix a situation, and nothing works. Eventually, your brain learns, nothing I do matters. So you stop trying. You give up. You sink into depression. This is what happens to people with chronic illness, long-term unemployment, prolonged grief. Your brain convinces you that nothing will ever get better. So why even try? Ayyub faced this for 18 years. 18 years where nothing got better. It only got worse. By every psychological prediction, he should have given up. But he didn't. Why? Because he did something that completely changed how his brain processed the suffering. He reframed it. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? This is unfair," he thought, "This is a test from Allah. He hasn't forgotten me. He's seeing if I'll stay faithful." That single shift changes everything. When you see suffering as meaningless, it destroys you. When you see suffering as meaningful, you can endure almost anything. There's a psychologist named Viktor Frankl who survived Nazi concentration camps. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. He said the people who survived weren't the strongest or the healthiest. They were the ones who found meaning in their suffering. Ayyub found meaning. This wasn't random bad luck. This wasn't punishment. This was Allah testing whether he would stay faithful even when everything was taken away. And that gave him something to hold on to. But there's more. Ayyub did 3 specific things that kept his mind intact. First, he practiced gratitude daily, even when he had nothing, even when he was in pain. He kept thanking Allah. Now you might think, what was there to be grateful for? That's the point. When you're in deep suffering, your brain focuses only on what's wrong. That's survival mode. But when you force yourself to notice even one small thing to be grateful for, you interrupt that pattern. Research shows that daily gratitude practice actually changes your brain structure. It increases activity in the prefrontal cortex and decreases activity in the amygdala. That means less anxiety, less depression, more resilience. Second, he maintained purpose. He didn't stop being a prophet just because his life fell apart. When you're suffering, your world shrinks. Everything becomes about your pain. But Ayyub kept his purpose bigger than his pain. That gave him a reason to wake up every day. Psychologists call this purpose-driven resilience. People who have a mission beyond themselves can endure incredible hardship because they're not just surviving for themselves. They're surviving for something greater. Third, and this is crucial, he had one person who stayed, Rahima. Human beings are not built to suffer alone. We're wired for connection. When you're going through hell, you might not need a crowd. You just need one person who refuses to leave. Rahima stayed to take care of him. She worked to feed him. She cut off her hair to buy him food. She could have left, but she didn't. That one relationship kept Ayyub human. It kept him from completely isolating. It reminded him he was still worthy of love even when his body was falling apart. Studies on chronic illness show this clearly. The people who cope best aren't the ones with the least pain. They're the ones with at least one strong supportive relationship. If you're in long-term suffering right now, you need these 3 things. When Ayyub was healed, it wasn't just his health that came back. Allah gave him everything back double. He had lost all his wealth. Allah sent rain from the sky, golden rain that filled his storehouses, silver rain that restored his livestock. He became wealthier than before. He had lost his 14 children. Allah gave him more children. He had lost his reputation. Now people came from everywhere to see the man who survived the impossible. But here's what's interesting. Ayyub didn't just endure 18 years. He became someone different because of those 18 years, stronger, wiser, more grateful, more patient. And this is what I want you to realize. Your suffering doesn't have to just be pain. It can be the thing that transforms you into someone you never thought you could be. Not because suffering itself is good, but because what you do with suffering determines who you become. If you're in your own version of 18 years right now, I want you to know something. You're not forgotten. You're not being punished. You're not cursed. You're in a test. And tests always ends. Not on your timeline, but on Allah's timeline. And when this test ends, you'll look back and realize that you were never alone. Allah was with you the entire time. You just couldn't see it while you were in it. So, here's what you do today. Find one thing to be grateful for. Find one small purpose. Find one person to connect with. Do that today, tomorrow, the day after, and keep doing it until the test ends. Because it will end, just like it ended for Ayyub. And when it does, you'll be grateful you didn't give up. If this story gave you hope, if it gave you strength to keep going, let me know in the comments. Just write 18 years. I'll know you truly found it helpful. And if you want more stories like this, where we look at the lives of prophets and psychology behind it, hit subscribe. We drop new videos week. Until next time, hold on, even when it feels impossible, because your healing is coming. It's closer than you think. Assalamu alaikum.